process it. And I've gone to places.
Oh, you go to natives.
Well.
Where they say there's a wine, do spiritual work.
Sa agagom na dibia.
Hey,
Dibia woloni asim na akara ma dero na dibia.
Jesus.
That I'm not destined for all the dibia something. That any dibia that tells me that he will do this or do that person is deceiving me. That my destiny is not lie in a dibia something. I should follow those who carries Bible. And in those who carries Bible, I should not follow those who wear suit or who.
The native doctor is one preaching you this gospel.
Yes, because he has done a native doctor from Abreba, but he resides in Anambra State.
You spend money.
So I spent a lot.
You say native doctor in Abreba.
Yes.
This one is saying, are you for real?
I'm telling you the truth, sir. Even before I got married, this happened for, let's say, 15 years back. I've been looking for what caused me downfall.
Oh my God.
I'm a musician, but I can't sing again because of difficulties, because of spiritual problems, spiritual attack.
And you are go to native doctors.
I got Dibia met you know me. The thing couldn't work. Out of anger, I went to the Dibia house to beat the Dibia very well because of.
This is not true.
I'm telling you the truth, sir. That's my story because I'm a martial art. So you we go and talk and pay the deal. Yes, sir.
I love this. You went to native doctor, spend money.
I spent money.
And he do juju for you.
Yes, the Dibia told me that he killed the money I gave to him. He killed a lamb in this river Niger. That everything is settled. And when I go back to the man that's supposed to market my music, so that the man will do this.
Oh my God!
The man said no. So because of the disappointment, I went back to Dibia house to beat him up.
Beat him up?
Yes, but
I like this man.
I thought
I will use this man. I've been sending him for family deliverance battle.
Good morning, fellow Ambazonians. Good morning, lovers of freedom. Good morning, lovers of human rights, protectors of human rights, defendants of human rights and human dignity. Good morning to friends of Ambazonia. There is a wave of uncertainty that is plaguing Cameroon. There is an intelligence report from the various Cameroon intelligence agencies. They have given Mr. Biya a warning of a possible coup and what Mr. Biya must do in order to make sure opposition do not unite. Before we get to that, we need to have a better understanding of how the globe works, of how the international system works, of how states, the current international and domestic, the current international environment, the interaction between states, how the world is dealing with conflicts, like what's happening in Ukraine, what's happening in the Middle East between Israel and Hamas, or Israel and the Palestinian people, and also what's happening in Ambazonia. We need to have a better understanding of how these things work, why states do certain things in the international system, why sometimes they act and why sometimes they are reluctant. What are the current dynamics within the international system? Once we have these understandings, then we will have a better perspective. Maybe we are not so fearful. Maybe we will not be so angry. Maybe we will not be so uncertain. Life always moves forward. Let us listen to a voice, a pragmatist, a realist, a political scientist. Professor John Mearsheimer is a political scientist who is now a celebrity, admired for his honesty, for his candor, for his balanced, but for who he is and how real he really is when it comes to the international system. This is the wisest man and the most intelligent and most sophisticated and most loved and admired political scientist in modern day. Let's listen to Professor John Mearsheimer. For the Ambazonian people, for some of you that are from Ambazonia, or you're from Cameroon, or you're from the Middle East, it doesn't matter what part of the world you're from, listen to this voice, a man of wisdom, of intellect, and of great capacity. As you listen, if you are from Ambazonia, start to contextualize what he's saying and how that relates to Ambazonia. All right? Let's listen to Professor John Mearsheimer, a speech he delivered in Doha, Qatar.
It's a great pleasure to be here in Doha and to be talking to you. The subject I'm going to talk about, as you know, is the events after October 7th in the Middle East and how they relate to the wider international system, how they relate to international politics, or what most of you would call the global order. That's what I want to talk about. And the way I want to proceed is I want to start by talking about the international system today. I want to give you a template for thinking about international politics across the planet. And then when I'm done doing that, I want to talk about what has been happening in the Middle East since October 7th and relate it to that picture that I draw of the broader international system. So let me start by talking about what the international system looks like today. And be aware as I talk that I'm giving you an American perspective. But given that the United States is the most powerful state on the planet, I think it makes eminently good sense to do this from an American perspective. The starting point for thinking about international politics on a global scale is to think about the polarity of the system, which is another way of saying how many great powers there are in the international system. When I was born in December 1947, the United States and the Soviet Union were the two great powers on the planet. We lived in a bipolar world. In 1989, the Cold War ended, and as all of you know, in December 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed, and we went from a bipolar world to a unipolar world, where the only great power in the world was the United States. Then, at roughly about 2017, the world stopped being unipolar, and it became multipolar. There were now, and this of course is true today, three great powers in the international system. The United States, which is still the most powerful state on the planet, China, which is a reasonably close second, and Russia, which is a distant third. Russia is the weakest of the three great powers. China is not that far away from the United States, and it's why the United States considers China to be a peer competitor. So basically what I'm saying to you is that we went from bipolarity to unipolarity to multipolarity. And most of you came of age during the unipolar moment. And then in 2017, as I said, the world changed in fundamental ways. The architecture or the structure of the system changed. And the architecture of the system matters enormously. And the fact that we're now in a multipolar world is something that you want to pay careful attention to today and moving forward. Now, what does that multipolar world look like? Basically, you have a world in which the United States remains the dominant power. And the United States focuses on three particular areas of the world. East Asia, because China is located there. Europe, because Russia is located there. And the Persian Gulf, because that's where the oil is. The three areas of the world that matter the most to the United States are East Asia, Europe, and the Persian Gulf. And today, the most important area of the world for the United States is East Asia, because that's where China, which is the peer competitor, is located. So many of you have heard all this talk over the recent years about the pivot to Asia. The pivot to Asia is designed to move American military forces out of Europe and out of the Persian Gulf and to focus them in East Asia where they can concentrate on containing China. In an ideal world, the United States would have a peaceful Middle East, the United States would have a peaceful Europe, and it would be able to concentrate its efforts on containing China. Moreover, in an ideal world, the United States would be an ally of Russia. If you want to think about this, you've got three great powers in the world: the United States, China, and Russia. If there are three great powers in the world and the peer competitor is China, from an American point of view, you want the Russians on your side of the ledger. Very important to have the Russians with you against the Chinese. But if you think about what the world looks like today, the United States is pinned down in the Middle East. It is pinned down in the Ukraine war, and it is unable to pivot to Asia to contain China, to fully pivot to Asia to contain China, because it's pinned down in these two regions of the world. And very importantly, instead of having Russia as an ally, because the United States has gotten deeply involved in the Ukraine war against Russia, we, in effect, we meaning the Americans, have pushed the Russians into the arms of the Chinese. So from an American point of view, we're in deep trouble today. Let me say one more word about the Middle East. When I say that the United States is pinned down in the Middle East, it's very important to understand, and I'll talk more about this when I talk about the events after October 7th, that the United States is pinned down in the Middle East because the United States is joined at the hip with Israel. It's very important to understand that the United States has a relationship with Israel that has no parallel in recorded history. The United States supports Israel unconditionally, and that's especially true when it comes to the Palestinian issue. The United States and Israel are more than just normal allies. The United States, again, supports Israel no matter what. So when we talk about Israel being deeply involved in this war or that war in the Middle East, you want to understand that means the United States is involved as well, and the United States is on Israel's side. So again, we have a situation where the United States, the most powerful state on the planet, is deeply enmeshed in a conflict or a series of conflicts in the Middle East, deeply enmeshed in a series of conflicts in Europe, and at the same time is unable to fully pivot to Asia. Now, another way of looking at this, just thinking about the big picture, is to recognize that what the United States has done in recent years is it has driven Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea close together. They basically form a bloc at this point in time. And on the other side is a different bloc. That bloc is Europe, Israel, and the United States. So you have Iran, North Korea, China, and Russia on one side, and you have the United States, Europe, and Israel on the other side. And those two blocs are at each other's throats. They are major antagonists in the international system. And very importantly, that competition between those two blocs has significant consequences for the Middle East, significant consequences for the Arab world, and significant consequences for the Gulf states. It's very important to understand that. This brings me to what the Middle East looks like after October 7th. So I want to switch gears now and move to the second part of my talk. And I want to talk about sort of what's been going on in the Middle East and where things are headed. It's commonplace in the West, certainly in the United States, to argue that all of the trouble that is now happening in the Middle East is due to Iran. Iran is the master puppeteer, and groups like Hamas and Hezbollah basically follow whatever Iran tells them to do. I think this view is dead wrong. I'm not arguing that Iran doesn't cause any trouble in the Middle East, but the principal country, or the country that is principally responsible for the trouble in the Middle East today, is not Iran, it is Israel. And to understand what Israel is up to and to think about the trouble that is now taking place in the Middle East, it's important to understand that there are three conflicts which are not completely independent of each other, but three different conflicts that have to be analyzed on their own. One is the genocide involving Hamas, and more generally, the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians. Number two, the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. And number three, the conflict between Iran and Israel and the United States. Those three conflicts have to be assessed. Let me start with the genocide in Gaza and talk about what is going on there. Israel is an apartheid state. It's probably better to talk about Greater Israel rather than just Israel. Greater Israel, as you all know, includes Green Line Israel, the Israel that was created after the 1948 war. It includes Gaza, and it includes the West Bank. And Greater Israel is an apartheid state. For anybody who has any doubts about that, there were three major reports that were written by three of the most important human rights groups in the world, Amnesty International, B'Tselem, and one other whose name escapes me at the moment, Human Rights Watch. And all three of them have written lengthy reports detailing the fact that Israel is an apartheid state. And what happened on October 7th caused the Israelis to pursue two particular goals vis-a-vis Hamas. Number one, they committed to defeating Hamas. Number two, they committed to getting the hostages back. And people talk about these two goals all the time. The one goal that's not talked about, which is of central importance for the Israelis, is to cleanse Gaza. The Israelis, who recognize full well that Greater Israel is an apartheid state, would like to put an end to that apartheid state. And they'd like to put an end to that apartheid state by driving the Palestinians out of Gaza and driving the Palestinians out of the West Bank and creating a largely homogeneous Jewish state. That's the basic goal. And they see what's going on in Gaza in the wake of October 7th as an opportunity to cleanse Gaza. The basic operating assumption was, to begin with, that by killing a significant number of Palestinians and effectively making Gaza unlivable, the Palestinians would leave. Of course, that has not happened, despite the fact that many Palestinians were killed and Gaza was made to be unlivable. The Palestinians did not leave. So ethnic cleansing has not worked. But in the process, what has happened is that that Israel killing machine has reached the point where it is, in effect, executing a genocide in Gaza. And that is what is taking place now. Now, not only have the Palestinians not left, not only have the Palestinians not been cleansed, but Israel has not defeated Hamas. Hamas is still effectively functioning as a combat organization that is a threat to Israel and that Israel cannot defeat. Just very important to understand that. They have not defeated Hamas. They are not going to defeat Hamas. And they have not gotten the hostages back as well. And again, they have not cleansed Gaza.
What causes it?
That gives you a broader and a better understanding of where things are globally, specifically where things are with regards to the conflict in the Middle East between the Israelis and the Palestinians. Everybody wants freedom. Everyone. Everybody wants peace. Everybody wants security. Everybody wants stability. These are basic human needs. How we go about it. The problem is not what we are pursuing. The problem is how states, how nations, how people go about to attempt to meet these needs. We can meet these needs in destructive ways. We can meet these needs in neutral ways. And we can meet these needs in positive, empowering, and sustainable ways. What you've heard from the professor, how does that relate to Ambazonia? And what Mr. Biya and the CPDM party are doing in Ambazonia? This is why we bring some of this information to you, so that we are not so limited in our thinking and conflicts are not so personal. Yes, they are personal because we're directly affected, but you can see that it's happening in other places, and how the world is responding, how the world is dealing with those things, how the world is working, how the world is attempting to resolve this conflict and bring the world back into a balanced place. Most of these conflicts are pushing the world to an extremist position. What the international system is trying to do is to try to force these actors back to a balanced system where there is peace and there is stability. This is the core principle here. That's why you see the axis between Iran, Russia, North Korea, and China, and now with India. They are trying to pull the world back to the center. The United States is trying to pull the world to a complete different direction. This is why you're seeing this polarity. This is why you're seeing this polarity. All right, now let's get back to what's happening in Cameroon. Mr. Biya, after 43 years in power, he has not created a viable economy that can provide and meet the needs, the dreams, the hopes, the wishes of the Cameroonese people. To meet the needs of the Cameroonese people. And as a result, after 43 years, at the age of 92, he's seeking re-election. And there is massive opposition. Oh, what's going on? Hello? I'm live on ACN, please. And as a result, well, some calls are emergency, we have to take them. And as a result, there is this massive opposition, dissatisfaction, and frustration amongst the Cameroonese people. What is happening now is the Cameroon intelligence agencies sent a memo to Mr. Biya 2 months ago. That memo contains an intelligence report that signals the possibility of a political coup within the CPDM party itself. There are certain elements within the CPDM party itself that want Mr. Biya out, and they want to take over power before the elections. There are certain top officials within the Biya's government that have come to the conclusion that Cameroon may implode. There could be a rebellion in Cameroon. And for them, they see themselves as saviors of Cameroon. And so they want to save Cameroon from Mr. Biya's destruction. So they've decided, based on the intelligence memo, that the best thing is to oust Mr. Biya and take over power. This is all contained in the document. It's a detailed article by Jeune Afrique and also from the Africa Report that have detailed that this memo was submitted to Mr. Biya in the month of July, and they also submitted a second memo to Mr. Biya. That memo came from the CPDM Central Committee itself, which they commissioned certain groups of strategists to find a way and put a plan in place as to what Mr. Biya can do to make sure that the opposition do not win the election. So based on the intelligence that has been provided by the intelligence services and also the memo submitted to Mr. Biya from the CPDM Central Committee, now we all can see why Mr. Biya is taking a trip to Europe. 3 weeks ago, there was a report that Mr. Biya has been called for an emergency meeting in Switzerland. What we all have to conclude here is Mr. Biya is not leaving Cameroon to Switzerland because he wants to. There is an election taking place in the next 3 weeks. Why would Mr. Biya be traveling now? Is it out of pleasure? Is it a personal decision? Is it a family trip that was planned? Based on the intelligence report, we don't think so. Something is chasing Mr. Biya out of Cameroon. Something is chasing Mr. Biya out of Cameroon. The question is, what is it? What is it that is chasing Mr. Biya out of Cameroon? We've all seen pictures based on what you've seen. Also, the picture you've seen on the screen. That Mr. Biya is alive. He can walk. So why is Mr. Biya not traveling to the various regions of Cameroon to carry out his campaign and sell his own message? Why? Based on the memo, there is a possible coup. Mr. Biya is afraid of possible assassination. There is so much tension within Cameroon that even Mr. Biya is afraid he will be assassinated. That's why you are seeing the people, the imams in the Grand North are holding the picture of Mr. Biya in campaign rallies. That's why you've seen Ambazonians, royals coming to the presidential palace, and they will not even allow them to see Mr. Biya. At this moment, Mr. Biya trusts no one, not even the people that have kept him in power for 43 years. Even the imams in the Grand North, he doesn't trust them. Even Ambazonian royals coming from the Atlantic states and the Savannah states, coming from the occupied territory, Mr. Biya does not trust them. He's afraid of a possible assassination or poison. There is something chasing Biya to Switzerland. 3 weeks ago, they sent a letter to Mr. Biya requesting him to go to Switzerland. Now there is the intelligence report out that there's a possible coup. Is this why Mr. Biya is running to Switzerland? Who is he going to meet in Switzerland? What are the new arrangements? What are the new conversations? There is something cooking. There is something boiling. There is something about to happen. This is not from me. This is from Cameroun intelligence agencies, based on their memo to the president. Something is cooking. Something is boiling in Cameroon. And people have to wake the fuck up. It's not going to be business as usual. Cameroon is bound to change. Cameroon is bound to change. There is something boiling. There is something happening. The pressure is on. The pressure is on. After Brenda came out on Friday and talked about why people should not vote for the father, by Saturday and Sunday, They've called her to retract that message and say, hey, I'm not mentally stable. I'm going through depression. I have a lot of anxieties. I'm afraid. I can't sleep. I'm disturbed. So the message that I send out, it's not really from me. It's from my distorted thoughts. It's a lot of drama. So pay close attention. Things are happening. Pay close attention to Cameroon. Within the next 3 weeks, major events, Cameroon can erupt. There's also possibility of the military. That's an option a lot of analysts have put out. The Northeast can react. Okay? Armed groups can emerge. Pay attention to Cameroon. All of these things are occurring, all of these things are happening because of Mr. Biya's failure to resolve the conflict in Ambazonia. All of these things, all of this pressure is mounting up, building up because of the failure to seek for a negotiated, peaceful settlement of the conflict in Ambazonia with the Ambazonian people. The conflict in Ambazonia, the conflict in the occupied territory, is draining Cameroon's political energy because most of their security and defense assets have all been poured to Ambazonia. A lot of money, billions of CFA, that should have been used to solve and provide basic social services to the Cameroonese people have been transferred to give the military what they need to continue the occupation, the atrocities, the destruction, and the human rights abuse in Ambazonia. Cameroon is left empty. The Camerooners are left with no other choice than to start to seek for alternatives. The Camerooners are left with no other choice than to start to seek for alternatives. Those alternatives, in most cases, would always make the situation worse, would always make the situation chaotic before it gets better. There is a disruption in the system. There is a disruption about to happen. There is a disruption about to occur to disrupt the system that has been entrenched in 43 years. And you have to be ready for it. You have to be prepared for it. Next up, Norway has appointed a new ambassador to Nigeria. He's been in Nigeria for a couple of months, and recently on the 17th, flew to Yaoundé to submit his credentials. He didn't meet Mr. Biya. We don't know why. He met with the Cameroon Minister of External Relations, Mr. Ambazonian, and submitted his credentials. So the Norwegian ambassador to Nigeria provides diplomatic services also to Cameroon, to Benin Republic, and to Togo. So as of now, there is no office, There's no Norwegian embassy in La République. There's no Norwegian embassy in Yaoundé. The embassy, the central embassy is in Abuja, Nigeria. And so it's the same ambassador who's providing diplomatic services. So for any Cameroonese who wants to visit Norway or asked for documents from the government of Norway, they have to travel to Abuja, Nigeria. And so it is for the people of Benin, and so it is for the people of Togo. Also, what we also learned is that the ambassador also asked the Cameroon government to look for all means and all ways to seek for a political settlement of the conflict. The arrest of Ambazonian activists and leaders abroad will not stop the conflict, would instead inflame the conflict. That was the recommendation and advice given to Mr. Bella, to Mr. Bella, Mr. Sriven, Mr. Sriven is S-V-E-I-N, Mr. Sriven. Beira is his name, based in Abuja, Nigeria. So for all of you, you can follow him on Twitter. You can find him on X. They also have an Instagram account, which you can also follow for constant updates. And for all of you that maybe want to file petition, you can follow him on X and file your petitions on X. Let's go back to the conflict in the Middle East and relate it back to Ambazonia. Because of the level of destruction based on Professor Mearsheimer, according to a former Israeli general, as of now, 200,000 Palestinians have been killed by the Israeli Defense Forces. 200,000 Palestinians. These are people that have been counted. We don't know as of now how many are buried in the rubbles, how many are buried in the buildings that have been demolished. We don't know how many are underground that have been slaughtered and killed. Nobody knows as of now. According to Scott Ritter and Larry Johnson, a former CIA intelligence analyst, he estimates that up to about 480,000 Palestinians have been killed. That's according to Larry Johnson and even report from Scott Ritter. So that's why you're seeing this intense international mobilization of efforts to make sure that they find a political solution to this conflict that has been going on for 74 years or even more. That's why you're seeing there is a momentum by Canada, by the United Kingdom, by Australia, by Norway, yes, by Ireland, by Spain, to recognize the state of Palestine as a state and to start to work on a new framework for a two-state solution. Yesterday, the government of Canada, the United Kingdom, and Australia made official recognition of the state of Palestine a day before the UN General Assembly started, which is today. The UN General Assembly is in session. It started today, and as we know, we are expecting an official recognition also from Mr. Macron. So this is what is going on. The world always do its best to pull forces to bring the world back to a place of stability. It is the same thing going on in the conflict between Ambazonia and Cameroon. The world is working. So just because things are not being put out, Just because certain statements are not made to the public, it doesn't mean that the world is not paying attention. They are paying attention. They are talking to Ambazonia. They are talking to Cameroon. They are looking for means and ways to pull both sides to a point of sitting on the table and hammering out a political, peaceful resolution to the conflict. As we've explained last week, as we've explained 2 weeks ago, something is going on. There is a process, there is dialogue, there is preliminary talks that are going on. Consultations are taking place. At the appropriate time, the world is waiting for Cameroon to sort out its own internal affairs. That's what they're waiting for. Mr. Biya is running away. They can't start a process when Mr. Biya is running away. They can't start a process when Mr. Biya is afraid of an assassination attempt. They can't start a process. So they have to give Cameroon a little bit of time to find stability, whether a transfer of power or a takeover of power. Whoever comes in, or if it's a continuation, then you see a process roll out when there is some form of stability within the state of Cameroon itself. All right? So don't be so anxious. Be patient. The Ambazonian conflict, just like the conflict in the Middle East and the one between Russia and Ukraine, is not just an armed conflict. The conflict in Ambazonia, the armed resistance is only 20% of the conflict. It's only 20% of the conflict. That is not the whole conflict. The armed resistance is only 20% of the conflict. La République military fighting Ambazonian forces, it's only 20% of the conflict. Ambazonia has all the cards. Cameroon is an occupying power. Look at what the last 2 weeks have done, what the last 2 weeks have demonstrated. The lockdown, the colonial school disruption, the colonial school resumption disruption. Look at the enormous power Ambazonians have demonstrated. Did we use guns? So don't be deceived and don't be manipulated by Cameroon to believe that the component of the conflict called armed resistance is what this conflict is all about. It's a political conflict. It's a political crisis between an occupying system and a people that wants to be free. This is about the rights of the people. This is about the hopes of the people. This is about the aspirations of the people. So you have two systems. One wants to contain the people, keep them under captivity, and as an occupied people, and then you have the people's aspiration. You have the wishes, you have the hopes, you have the dreams, you have the desire to control their own destiny, for self-determination, for self-governance, to protect the cultural, educational, legal, social rights of the Ambazonian people, for them to be able to build their own economy, be in charge of their educational system, of their legal system, of their culture, be in charge of their own development. This is what this is about. This is why Ambazonian forces are fighting. But they fight using armed resistance. It's only 20% of what constitute the conflict. Civil disobedience, the collective resistance, is the 80% component of the conflict. Ambazonians, the thousands of Ambazonians that are in refugee camps, or that is also a component of the conflict. The thousands of Ambazonians that have been detained and jailed in the various concentration camps, that is a component of the conflict. To resolve the conflict, you have to resolve the issues affecting Ambazonian refugees. You have to resolve the issues as to why these Ambazonian leaders, Ambazonian patriots and nationalists have been the reason they are in Cameroon detention camps. Those issues have to be resolved. The legal issue of occupation has to be resolved. So don't be deceived that the armed resistance is what the fight is all about. No, it's not. Ambazonians picked up arms to protect themselves, to defend themselves, and to resist Cameroon brutality and occupation. It's part of the resistance strategy. That's why you don't have to be so worried. Because for most of you, if you wake up in the morning, there is no confrontation between Cameroon military and Ambazonian forces, you don't feel good. If you don't hear of an IED or an explosion, you don't feel good because you are now dependent on actions to determine how you feel, to determine a level of belief. Cameroon will leave Ambazonia. It's unsustainable. Cameroon cannot sustain the conflict. They don't have the means. They don't have the capacity. Mr. Biya is 92. How many more years does he have? Maybe 2, 3? 4 years max? Whereas most of the Ambazonian population, 75% of the population is under the age of 45. Come on. Look at the vibrant Ambazonian community in the diaspora. I think they are estimating now that there are about 2 million Ambazonians in the diaspora, and you have 8 million on the ground. So look at the level of talent and resources, educational resources, expertise resources, professional resources, engineers, doctors, lawyers, all sorts of experts, builders, entrepreneurs. So the future is quite bright for the Ambazonian people. In conclusion, we should not only focus on what we don't want. We don't want to be killed. We don't want to go to jail. We don't want Cameroon to commit massacres. We don't want our people to be slaughtered. We don't want our communities to be invaded. We don't want our communities to be destroyed. Those are all the things we don't want. Those are all the things we are against. We can't put all our energies on about just focusing on all the things we don't want. The greater part of our energy should be about the vision for Ambazonia, the future of Ambazonia, the type of healthcare system we want for Ambazonia. The social infrastructure we want for Ambazonia. The kind of industries we want for Ambazonia. The education system we want for Ambazonia. From kindergarten to specialized institutions. That's what you should be thinking about. The Ambazonia you want to build. The Ambazonia you want to create. This is what should preoccupy your focus, your thinking, your imagination. Imagine the future. Imagining the future designing the future, the kind of services, innovation, ideas, the kind of technologies, the kind of businesses, the kind of police force we want to have, the kind of intelligence services we should have, the kind of laws we should have. What should be contained in the Ambazonian Charter of Rights and Freedoms? What should be contained in Ambazonia Bill of Rights and Freedoms? That's what you should be thinking and designing. That's what you should be planning, thinking, creating, designing, debating. The status quo is gone. Now we have to design the future. You have to start to think about how we want to create safe communities. How do we heal our people from this trauma? How do we heal the refugees? How do we heal those that will be coming out of jail? That's what you should be thinking. And what kind of role do you want to play to build that future, to create that future? That's what you should be thinking. And don't get so carried away by the drama in Cameroon. Focus on the future. And guess what? Peter Drucker, the father of modern corporations, said this: the best way to predict the future is to create it. So if you want to predict the future, you have to invent it. You have to envision it. You are responsible in creating the future of Ambazonia. You are responsible. You're responsible in creating the kinds of roads we want, the quality of drinking water we want to supply our people, the kind of streets, the kind of communities, how our village will look like, how our towns and cities will look like. What kind of model are we going to adopt? Maybe we have to create a whole new model. And this is the beautiful part. When all is said and done, there will be a negotiated settlement. Everything will end on the table. Peace will come. Freedom will come. We will be able to reclaim our lives and start the process of building a society like none other. What role do you want to play? This is where you should get excited. Get excited about the future, the role you want to play, the creativity, the innovation. That's where joy comes from. That's where rewards come from. That's where abundance comes from. That's where success will come from. That's where wealth will come from. That's where all your rewards will come from. After you've labored, you've suffered, you've paid the price, you have to reap the rewards of freedom, which is progress, better quality of life, better quality homes, a 21st century lifestyle, better roads, safe communities, safe societies, where you can sleep in peace without worrying about the terrorist bees, without worrying about the terrorist gendarmes, without worrying about the terrorist police and army. None of that will exist in the future Ambazonia. And this is what you should wake up being excited about. This is why you should be going about your day being excited about, thinking about that future, 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 dreaming that future, conceptualizing that future, feeling so good about the future. Don't be carried away by the current reality. It won't be here in a few months. Focus on the future that is coming, the role you want to play in it, and the contribution you want to make. Start to plan about being successful, being industrious, developing and providing goods and services to the Ambazonian people, and reap the reward of freedom, free enterprise, and abundance. This is our message for you for today. We thank ACN always for giving us space and time to bridge the gap between where we were, where we are, and where we are going. All money plays day.
First order.
What are you voting? They call us dog. They call us enemies in the house. So does that mean you are a dog? So does that mean you are an enemy in the house? If not, then what are you voting for? We are Southern Cameroonians. Elections are for citizens of La République du Cameroon. Bring back grandma, will you bring back baby and Ellen? Will you bring back baby Martha? Will you bring back the children in Cameroon? Will you bring back the children of St. Francis in Kumba? We are not citizens of La République du Cameroon. We have never been citizens of La République du Cameroon. Our
ancestor Molanjo Litumbe reminded us that Jumba no be married. Our ancestor Dr. Oendele reminded us to never vote for death in La République du Cameroon.
Will your vote bring back Grandma happy? Will your vote bring back baby and Dale? Will your vote bring back baby Martha? Will your vote bring back the children in Labu? Will your vote bring back the children of San Francisco in Cuba?
What are you voting for? Your vote in La République du Cameroon elections means all our brothers and sisters should die in La République prison. Are you happy that thousands of our brothers and sisters are in La République prison? Are you happy that more than 60,000 of our parents, brothers, sisters and children have been killed by La République du Cameroon? Are you happy that over 200 of our villages have been burned by La République du Cameroon? Think about this very well. Is this what you want?
Will your vote bring back Grandma happy? Will your vote bring back baby and Dale? Will your vote bring back baby Martha? Will your vote bring back the children in Abu? Will your vote bring back the children of San Francisco in Cuba?
What are you voting for?
They call us dog. They call us enemies in the house. So does that mean you are a dog? So does that mean you are an enemy in the house? If not, then what are you voting for? We are Southern Cameroonians. Elections are for citizens of La République du Cameroon.
Will your vote bring back Grandma happy? Will your vote bring back baby and Dale? Will your vote bring back baby Martha? Will your vote bring back the children in Gabon? Will your vote bring back the children of San Francisco in Cuba?
We are not citizens of La République du Cameroon. We have never been citizens of La République du Cameroon. Our ancestor Molanjo Litumbe reminded us that Jumba no be married. Our ancestor Dr. Oendele reminded us to never vote for death in La République du Cameroon.
Will your vote bring back Grandma happy? Will your vote bring back baby and Dale? Will your vote bring back baby Martha? Will your vote bring back the children in Labu? Will your vote bring back the children of San Francisco in Cuba?
What are you voting for? Your vote in La République du Cameroon elections means all our brothers and sisters should die in La République prison. Are you happy that thousands of our brothers and sisters are in La République prison? Are you happy that more than 60,000 of our parents, brothers, sisters, and children have been killed by La République du Cameroun? Are you happy that over 200 of our villages have been burned by La République du Cameroun? Think about this very well. Is this what you want?
Will your vote bring back grandma happy? Will your vote bring back baby and Dale? Will your vote bring back baby Martha? Will your vote bring back the children in Abu? Will your vote bring back the children of St. Francis School in Cuba?
Sometimes I just defeat say Papa God don't turn it back for we, yeah. Cameroon government killing every day. Ambazonia people just they perish every day. Tears they run down off my eyes. Waiting we do you to make we cry. I just they look up in the sky. You pray me Papa God show us way to survive. Out of this humiliation. Frustration, a potion for my nation. A state of depersonalization. Oppression be the reason for division. Many years of corruption. Many years of dehumanization. Your government practice terrorization. Raping Ambazonians with suppression. Oh no, waiting we do you. La République du Cameroun, now waiting we do you to make we cry. Waiting we do you. La République du Cameroun, now waiting we do you to make we cry. Waiting we do you. La République du Cameroun, now waiting we do you to make we cry. Waiting we do you. La République du Cameroun, now waiting we do you to make we cry. I remember those years where unity pretend to reign. We living like that time like say tomorrow no go day. Grandfather used to tell me tomorrow go back again. I no believe because I be still be picking again. I look ahead of me today, no see future again. I'm looking around me, I know they see people again. Grandpapa used to tell me tomorrow go back again. I no believe because I be still be picking again. No be lie. Waiting I see today make me cry. I just the pity for my life. Grandpapa they believe you now. I say no be lie. Waiting we see today make we cry. Make una pity for our life, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ambazonians let's unite to stop the fight. Waiting we do you. La République du Cameroun, now waiting we do you to make we cry. Waiting we do you. La République du Cameroun, now waiting we do you to make we cry. Waiting we do you. La République du Cameroun, now waiting we do you to make we cry. Waiting we do you. La République du Cameroun, now waiting we do you to make we cry. Who no go no say. Ambazonians don't they pray for the coming of the Lord to bring peace in this world. Coming of the Lord to bring peace in our nation. Spirit of the Lord to protect our souls. We living in pains, innocent people die. Don't be lie. Waiting I see today make me cry. I just the pity for my life. Grandpapa, they believe you now. I I say no be lie. Waiting we see today make we cry. Make una pity for our life, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ambazonians, let's unite to stop the fight. Waiting we do you, La République du Cameroun. Now waiting we do you to make we cry. Waiting we do you, La République du Cameroun. Now waiting we do you to make we cry. Waiting we do you, La République du Cameroun. Now waiting we do you to make we cry. Waiting we do you, La République du Cameroun. Now waiting we do you to make we cry. Now waiting we do you to make we cry. La République du Cameroun. Now waiting we do you to make we cry. Now waiting we do you to make we cry. La République du Cameroun. Freedom Records.